guys, welcome to CableCast. My name, of course, is Caleb Cable Ryor. In this episode, I am joined by a former Worlds Finalist and current VGC streamer, just like everyone else in quarantine, Jeudy Azzarelli. How's it going, Jeudy?
Hey guys, I'm doing good right now. Happy to be here. Yeah, I'm just living my quarantine life.
Just like all of us, yes. Glad to have you on. Along with him, we have another newbie to the podcast, close friend of mine and Canadian VGC overlord, Brath. Seaco. How are you doing?
Hey guys. Also, just living quarantine life.
Yeah.
Honestly, like playing Pokemon, that's how we've been getting through this mostly, I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason why I have the three of us, this is a little odd of pairing, I'd argue, but we're in like a chat together for Waka World Tour, anyways. But we all played in and made it to day 2 of the Players Cup. So,
We did.
Yeah, that
We
happened.
did do that.
That feels like a year ago almost already, but that's what this episode's gonna be all about. And just let us vent about what went well, what went wrong, what we really didn't like, but we could save that for later. But there's some also metagame analysis. We can talk about the Pokemon aspect instead of just, the tournament itself. But you guys have any like beginning thoughts? Anywhere you want to start?
Honestly, with quarantine, that's the reason I'm playing Pokemon again. So
That is true.
Players Cup was like my first Nintendo event, TPCi event besides the international. So it was really fun. I had a lot of fun. I think it was ran really well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It was so fast. Even though it was double elimination, it was very smooth. I liked the format. I am a pro Open Team Sheets. And I do hope that if we do have more online tournaments in the future, that we test that out more.
I know personally, I'm. It's still in the works. We're figuring out. I don't know. I might do it on like a call-in sub tour or something. But I want to run put in some money, like some pot money, actual stuff on the line instead of whatever official trip 4 people will get in the world. But I want to have like an actual Swiss Open Team Sheet tournament run.
Oh god. I had a lot of fun with Players Cup. It was I don't play in the grassroots tours just because I don't really have time, and so Players Cup was like, oh my god, we're actually having something official for the first time, and since stuff got canceled, so it was like a way for me to get back invested in Mons. And pro Open Team Sheets, same here. I love that aspect.
I completely forgot, but it was also fun that it was like most people's first Series 5 tournament because of when the DLC dropped. Because we qualified through the May IC, which was that was late enough Series 4. But
I think it was the last thing of Series 4.
Yeah, well, and then the Invitational, the Players Cup Invitational, that was the last thing.
Yeah.
Because when they streamed they actually streamed it after the DLC had come out, but it was played the weekend before the DLC. So
it was like Series 4.5.
Yeah, because we still had the hidden ability starters, so we got to see Jeudy with that. Right? He had the
he had
Rillaboom.
Yeah. So honestly, with all the other Series 5 stuff we've had added, I wouldn't say I'm surprised that Rillaboom and Cinderace are so hugely impactful to the meta, but it is interesting because they were added in Series 4 too, so we had a little more practice with them.
Yeah. I was actually surprised a bit about Cinderace. Because at first thought I was just oh, it's Greninja. So it's not going to be that good. But then with Dynamax factored, it was way better than I expected.
It gets two of the, I'd argue, top 5 max moves in Airstream and Steel Spike. So maybe even top 3. I think boosting defenses and boosting speed are the best max moves.
I think it feels an awful lot like, you remember back when we first got our hands on 2020 and Bingji came out with that like Durant team.
Mm-hmm.
It was sort of like Life Orb Durant, where it blows stuff up, right? Like it was.
Yeah. It has better speed tier and coverage than Durant now too. So honestly,
but it got those.
Here, go ahead.
It got those great boosty max moves, and it just, blows up the meta. It had the speed, it had the offensiveness, and all its problems are really mitigated by Dynamax Factor, having that boosted HP.
Yeah.
So,
are there any reasons to run Durant now that Cinderace exists? Like, Cinderace basically covers, if not covers more than Durant ever would anyways. I guess Max Quake, but...
Yeah, I guess a rock move really gets like the...
Oh, yeah, true.
But, still, it's very... You have to have a big reason. It does still hit harder because of hustle. So yes. That's, like, something to look at. But, the reasons, you really need to have good reasons to be using it over, let's say, Cinderace or the other fast, strong mons.
Yeah.
Here, since we're already talking about Cinderace, let's also talk about, we'll look at, I have links for us. Let's look at just the week 1% usage stats from Players' Cup when we had 256 people playing, with all the no-shows and whatnot.
Yeah.
I was surprised by the amount of no-shows. Like, I would think if you qualified, you'd, want to play, but...
Yeah. I know there were some people that didn't even get the email, which is a thing, too. But, yeah.
Yeah, it was a little messy on that end. Like, when we say the tournament was really well run, it was, when the tournament, was happening, that was, perfect. Like, we had a great judge staff and everyone. They were running all the tournaments, but
shout out to the staff.
Yeah, very, very thankful for all of them. But at the same time, I have so many qualms with, I guess, the setup of the tournament. We never got a reseeded bracket from the no-shows, so I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I mean, Santino, he qualified, so he definitely showed that he deserved it. But he got a round 3 winners bye, which
oh really?
Yeah, because of how it worked. It was weird. Like, someone would have gotten 2 buys in a row if they had they would have gotten a round 1 bye and a round 3 bye if they had beaten Santino round 2, but they didn't.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
So in my mind, it's just round 3 winners, you're going to be fighting someone pretty good. They're 2-0. So just to be able to skip stuff like that, it was a little, suspect.
I really did not like it. A lot of the predictions I was making with friend groups and such assumed that, TPCi would do what makes sense and drop the buys.
Yeah, and just reseed everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and we ended up with stuff like Santino getting a round 3 bye, some players getting 2 buys all the way into round 3, where they only needed to win 1 more just to make it. So it's unfortunate. Obviously, if you made it even further in week 2 and further into week 3, then you obviously deserve it.
Right.
But it is disheartening to see.
It's just the fact that it happened.
Yes.
Especially because of how easy it is to really just reseed things, but also because... So, I don't know if I cared too much about the seeding from the placement of the IC itself. I know a lot of people were just, stopped playing when they knew they were, locked in for Players' Cup. They could have been better. So, the seeding wasn't really, the best gauge of overall skill. But because of the no-shows, I think the second seed was a no-show or something. So it just disproportionately shifted a lot of lower players who just barely made it into Players' Cup to advance even further. So as far as the legitimacy of the event itself, double elimination also not the most helpful thing for us to be used to, I guess.
I think they handled the seeding right. It makes sense. You see based off of the finish that you had. I think that's cool. I think it opens up more thoughts into why are we not seeding our events in the future, even our Swiss events, considering we do have rankings and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's something I actually would like to explore more, I guess, in the
I've been
future.
saying this for the past like 5 years. Like I want to see. We need to find TPCi to have an excuse to replace Tom. I don't know if they'll ever do it. Our current tournament organizer software, but if we had like seeded Swiss, that'd be a lot more fun in my opinion. Because then
There's
like,
actually a version of Scrabble Swiss. So Scrabble uses Swiss the same way we do, but they use a seeded Swiss, and I don't remember the exact name for it. You can look it up after this, but it's based off of like your ELO.
Yeah.
It's based off of your ELO, so similar to the, we have these internal rankings that they never use.
Yeah, I just hate it when like two people are like 2-0 and they're like potentially the best players in the tournament and honestly should be playing in finals, but they meet round 3 of Swiss and one of them has to lose. And so that kind of messes up things there. Even if the other person like wins out, it's like it's a little messy.
Or you travel by region, right? And you have to team kill your buddies.
Yeah.
Right? Like you travel to a regional and you got to team kill your friends that you drove with, right? Or something like that.
Well, honestly, that might happen. You can't dodge that. There's no more friend rule. We're not single a limb.
No, but you can do that with like pool seeding or something, even though that's not Swiss seeding, but you get sort of what I mean.
Right. I agree. I guess one thing they could have done for this, we could have had like a pools phase first and then seeded into a double elimination bracket. But I know like they're pressed for time as is, and because they were running all the qualifiers like back to back, that's why we had to play within 3 weekends, which before I know we said we talk about the Pokemon next, but before we get into that, how did you guys feel about playing like within the past week? Well, first I'll ask like just mentality of having to prep for different days, but also we know our matchup going into the next weekend and like prepping for that like in the middle of a tournament. Like how'd you guys feel about that? Did you like that aspect? Did you hate it? I hated it, but I'll go on about that later.
Mind if I start, Jeudy?
Yeah, you can start.
So I made a tweet earlier about specifically like that stress, the like sinking feeling you get before a tournament. Mm-hmm. So like day 1, first Saturday of Players Cup, that first week, I couldn't go to sleep the night before, right? It's that like sinking feeling you get before the even the night before like a regional, night before any big tournament. And so the very first thing was like mentality. I couldn't sleep. And then like for me to have to wait from when I woke up at like 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. With that like pit in my stomach all day, I was freaking out, man. I was pacing around the room. It wasn't good.
But what about
and so then have to do that again next week, because it doesn't change, right? Like the next week you get in and you're like, it comes back. It's like, oh shit, I gotta play in like another big tournament this weekend. So
it didn't feel different for you, like specifically knowing like your opponent's team ahead of time.
Knowing my opponent's team was a bit different, in the sense like I could prep for it. So I like knew some of my opponents from before, and I played some matchup prep with some friends. But like, it's that tournament nerves that happen before the tournament. That mentality is just like, that freaks me out, and it's awful. My stomach was like, I was nauseous all day before the tournament. So
I don't blame you. So how did it affect you, Jeudy?
Didn't like it.
No, I was gonna say like everyone feels that the nerves. I felt the nerves all of the first week. As soon as like the day started, I woke up way too early for a 3 p.m. tournament. I was up at like 8, and I'm like, Oh no, today's
Well,
gonna be a
that's
long
usually
day.
when we have to wake up for our tournaments.
That is,
So,
right?
Yeah.
That is. Yeah.
So like, one, I do enjoy later tournaments. I've been playing Smash like in my time away from Pokemon, and like the local here starts at 7 p.m. So like 3 p.m. tournament, I'm like, yes, sir. But it was definitely a lot different because like this, like, it's not a local. The stakes felt higher, and you just had that weight. Um, and I did the thing of just waiting in a group call because I'm not gonna wait alone. You know, I'm trying to get the regional experience.
Yep.
And that helped. We watched some ping pong before the
Ping
before
pong, the anime.
yes, and then it started. And it just was quick. I won my game, won my next one, and it was like over, and I'm like, oh no, I won another one, and now it's just like,
Yeah. So
wow,
Jeudy,
that was a
you
lot.
and I went 3-0 the first day, and they were
Yeah.
just coasting.
Like it was fast. Games were played, which is like a lot different from Swiss, especially the way this was handled since it was over multiple days. I never felt like I had to wait an unnecessarily long period of time, and I guess that's also because I was in winners the whole time, so I never. But
yeah, the losers experience, there is a lot of lag there.
Yeah. So going into week 1 to week 2, I was playing against Jonathan Evans, and we played the same team. So we just made a pact that we weren't going to like full on out prepare for each other. So I actually went that whole week pretty stress free. Like, I didn't want to think about the matches after that. I didn't want to think about the matches in the losers. I just had like a week vacation, played John, got beat by John, and then just played through losers. So I guess I had a different experience compared to you, where you had to, you know, you were stressed out the next, like, you had to prep for your opponent, and then you were feeling the pressure going into Saturday.
Yeah, here
I'll
share.
I was in losers.
Oh right? Yeah, actually, yeah. Hey, talk about.
I was in losers from the end of week 1, so I lost my second round off of some unfortunate.
So what was your record
carrots.
after the first day? So how many games did you have to play? 4 or 5?
I played 5, so I won game 1 and then lost game 2, which meant I just had to play all of losers.
Yeah.
It was like all of losers or bust. So I played. It was win-loss, 3 wins in a row, and then the next week would have been 4 wins in a row, and then the next week after 4 wins in a row, right?
Yeah.
Sounds stressful, right? That's like, oh my god, there's no margin of error. I'm looking at my opponent's teams for next week, and I'm like, oh god, I don't have a matchup, right? Like, so that was the concern. That's like what got me so stressed. And losers was fast. You guys are saying like, oh, maybe there was some lag in losers. I didn't experience that.
Oh well, I know.
I would finish my games.
Toller had to wait for like winner sets or whatever when we were talking about it.
Oh really?
Or there were some loser sets. Yeah, there was a little wait. I think deeper in losers. I think one side of the bracket was going faster than another, just because one winner set was like a 2-0 instead of a 2-1. So. Man,
I didn't even have time to like I'd finish my match and the next person would be like, hey, you good to go? And I was like, man, I gotta take a piss. I gotta go get snacks. Like, there wasn't even time to do this stuff, you know?
Well, were your sets longer than your opponents, I guess, then?
No, I was playing Cinderace. I was running hyper offense stuff.
Fair.
No, it was fast, man.
Interesting.
It didn't help.
So just to speak about like my experience, I was pretty stress free going to the first day, honestly. Like, I was just going to play what I liked, the core I was using. I peaked 19th on the Battle Stadium ladder, going like 13-0 on stream earlier that week. And then I added 2 other Pokemon that Toller was using. But, so Toller and I, we published our team. We used the same 6 because we're getting to the same like kind of core from different angles. So it was really interesting. But where was I going with this? Right, so I had him. We were talking all the that day, Saturday, leading up into our games at 3 p.m. I was not looking forward to playing Angel. I knew I had to play Angel. That said, very stressful. That matchup was I think well executed on my end. I ended up winning, so I went 3-0 the first day. But then my round 4 winner's opponent was like my worst matchup. But it had like it was Sun. I'm really weak to just Sun, which was not the call for this tournament. There was so much Sun. But like it was playable. It was winnable too, but it wasn't something I was comfortable fighting. But how it ended up working is I prepped a lot against that team, but with Toller playing my opponent's team, and then we'd like switch and whatnot. But both of us played it very differently than my opponent did. So, and I got kind of conditioned from my practice sets going into that. He was really afraid of my Duraludon mode, which I wasn't even considering bringing. If I had gone Duraludon, I think game 2 and then 1, I probably... It would have been close. But I even talked to the guy after. He agreed, like, if we played, like, a 1st to 10, like, it might have gone, like, 10-8 on someone's end. Like, it was a very, very close matchup.
Which 6 were you again, Caleb? Just for...
So I had the core that I ride or die for was Gyarados, Terrakion, Duraludon, Rillaboom, with Sash coaching Terrakion, which I love so much. And then our last mons were Clefairy, Talonflame, which Toller loved the Talonflame because he was all about... There was this like Terrakion Talonflame mode, but none of my matchups really enabled that well. I probably would have preferred having like a bulkier pivot fire Pokemon for the Sun matchup, but it was fun. It was a good time. But yeah, prepping for
Jeudy,
for that,
again?
and then losers I lost to Hyper Offense. But yeah, let's talk about teams before we talk about what's good. So Jeudy, what was your 6 again?
Jeudy, what were your 6?
So yeah, I played the same team that Nick and John ended up playing. It was Cinderace, Rillaboom, Incineroar, Milotic, Clefairy, and well, I'm actually forgetting my last Pokemon, which is a bit...
T-Tar, right?
T-Tar, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was.
So you had 4 of the top 5 usage Pokemon week 1.
Wow, I did not even know that. Yeah, I was lucky. So I was like, I didn't get to practice for the tournament. And then in practice games, I saw Nick play the team, and I'm like, I kind of want to play that team. And I asked him, and he gave me permission to use the team. So that was good. That was fun. I didn't get to, so like a lot of my practice with the team was the day of the tournament. But very, very strong stuff. Cinderace is an amazing Pokemon.
It's nuts.
Rillaboom is an amazing Pokemon.
It's number 1 in usage for a reason.
Yeah, I did not I knew Grassy Glide was dumb, but then you don't realize how dumb Grassy Glide is until you actually play with it, and it's
entirely invalidates Terrakion as a Pokemon in the format. Like, it upsets me to no end. Like, everyone kind of knows me as like the beat up Arcanine guy. I don't like beat up that much. I just kept winning with it early in the season. So people were like, "Oh, you're gonna use beat up Terrakion." I like Terrakion for different reasons because I've used Terrakion in the past on like the 2015 Sun or like other stuff. I don't know. Terrakion's a good Pokemon, but
I thought that Terrakion was gonna be good on Sun teams this year. That's what I tested like week 1. So I was like, oh, we finally get a rock type that can deal with like Togekiss stuff, but it's also like fighting, which is good against Tyranitar and stuff.
But I think Tyranitar itself is just better in that role.
Yeah.
Because Tyranitar beats the other Tyranitar too, so.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like Terrakion was at 5% usage. Was it even in like week 2? It was also at 5%. So like, it's there. I thought it'd be slightly better than Urshifu, but like I get that Urshifu why its usage is higher than Terrakion, just because people it's like it's a newer toy to play with, busted ability, solid Gmax option, but I don't know.
I really wanted to play with Urshifu, so that's why I ended up.
What was your?
I saw similar to what Jeudy was saying. He saw what Nails was using, and I saw that as well. And I was like, I like it, but there's a couple of things I don't really like, and I really want to try Urshifu. So I put on Urshifu Dark, Toxtricity, and Togekiss instead of Cinderace, Clefairy, and Tyranitar.
No, you had Cinderace.
So, or not Cinderace, sorry.
Incineroar.
Clefairy, Incineroar, and Tyranitar. Yeah.
So you had.
So.
Yeah.
Urshifu, I think, is a really fun mon. I think people are still struggling to figure it out, but I think
I thought the water one would be more
potential.
popular, honestly.
So like I think that when I looked at them, I had the same thought, but then the dark type is generally like a very polarizing, like weird type generally. Like
I just thought dark fighting with Togekiss still existing.
True. Like, I'm gonna be real. I actually lost a game versus Yoshi and Lugia because I forgot.
Oh, yeah?
I forgot about it going through Protect.
Oh no!
What was that streamed? Did you stream that?
Yeah, I did stream it. Then there was another time where it was at -1, and my Rillaboom was at -1, but it was at full HP, and I'm like, so Poison Jab can't kill me. I'm good. And then I used Wicked Blow, and it one-shot my Rillaboom, and I was just like, what the hell is this Pokemon?
Wicked Blow. What's the Gavin tweet? You know the one I'm talking about, right? Shoot, it was so good. One nice thing about fighting Urshifu is it's not able to crit you with Surging Strikes or Wicked Blow. I mean, like, yes. To those at home who are confused about this, it's guaranteed crit, but because of its base power, it just hits like a normal move, essentially. But so it can't do more than that. Like, it can't like be a crit close combat and do like 2,000%.
Yeah.
So it's fair, you know.
Well, like, it's like you can never intimidate it. Its main stab move, which is I think what makes it crazy. Because like even if it's at -3, Wicked Blow is hitting like it's at neutral, which is.
I learned that harder. Yeah. I just know this from Doubles OU and also Waka World Tour trying out no Max VGC 20. Without Max, Urshifu is just like broken. Like,
it's really good.
They clearly made this Pokemon knowing like Max was like a thing.
Yeah. It's hitting for a lot. Even though it is never critting you, it's hitting you for a lot all the time. Same one.
I specifically went Urshifu Dark because you're saying you thought water would be better. I specifically went Dark just because
you're
Dark hits a lot more of the meta.
Yeah.
It hits a lot more of the meta in my mind. Surging Strikes can't touch Rillaboom as much, which I knew was going to be big. And Wicked Blow just...
Oh yeah, you have an issue with the Moongus too, with the water one.
Yeah, with Amoonguss as well. Amoonguss shuts it down completely. Unless you have like Aerial Ace or Ice Punch. So...
I was gonna say of the four, it was 4 Urshifu that cut. So and there was a 2-2 split of
Oh, was it a 2-2 split? Yeah.
Was it a 1-3? No, it was actually a 1-3 split, sorry. There was 3 water Urshifu and 1 dark Urshifu.
Where are the waters from?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess so there's a water and a dark in the Latin America finals.
Yeah.
There's a water in... Santi had a water for...
and Luca had a dark, I'm pretty sure.
Luca had a water.
Oh, he had a water?
Yeah.
I literally can't read how they look.
It's hard. We have to remember the stances and everything. But so, the 2 Urshifu that made it through NA...
They both made it out of winner's side, which I think is pretty... crazy stat.
That is interesting.
Urshifu Or like all undefeated. All their Shifu that made it through. But
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
But none
you really
in
need
Oceania.
Togekiss hate.
Yeah.
And Amoonguss hate, depending on which one you go for.
Mm-hmm.
But they are good if you can get them to work.
Yep.
So.
Are there any Pokemon that are like super relevant we haven't talked about yet? Like, I guess, so we have stats from week 1 and week 2 usage. Like, the only big difference is that Whimsicott goes down 7% from week 1. So, like, all the hyper offense teams kind of fell off, which is, like, no surprise. But
Dragapult goes up, which is important. I like, before the tournament, I was like, why would I use Dragapult when I have Cinderace?
Right.
Like, I couldn't justify that.
Well,
but it seems like
faster.
A lot of people
it's good against Cinderace because it's a faster airstream.
Yeah.
It is, but there's still problems with that, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't outdamage Cinderace even with Wormwind. Like there are problems with Dragapult versus
Well,
Cinderace.
you can get like combo stuff off if you're boosting the thing next to you. Because that's what Cinderace likes to do, but if you do it before them, it's advantageous.
Yes.
I think
Incineroar goes up, which is important as well.
Yeah.
Slightly. And Sun goes up as well.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Sun goes up dramatically. Torkoal up 5%. Venusaur up.
Would you
4%.
guys say that Sun is the best archetype in the format currently? I would argue that.
I can't.
I'd say yes.
I can't. I don't think. I think just in general, I don't know if it's not really a team. But Incineroar, like Rillaboom balanced stuff.
There's a few different like core stuff, yeah.
Yeah. I think Incineroar, Rillaboom stuff are just they're more splashable. They're I guess like as an overall archetype, Sun is probably the best, but I still think stuff like Ted, even though if it's not Excadrill, like they're still probably up there as the team to beat, but Sun is definitely top 3.
The Dragapult Sand stuff beats Sun pretty hard, but that stuff in return can struggle against like I guess the more balance oriented like Rillaboom and some other stuff you're talking about. So it's this whole like web of matchups, but I still feel like Sun is like the most oppressive. Like there's so many like things it can do.
Okay, I'll give you. Yeah, if I didn't use Nails' team, I would have used Sun 100%. I think that I think it's insane.
Dusclops T-Tire version.
Yeah, I would have used Dusclops T-Tire stuff. I think it's insane just because how powerful. Like even though you resist it, it doesn't matter because they're putting you to sleep. Venusaur is an insane max. They made Venusaur better by giving it a G max.
Vine Lash is ridiculous. I want it out of this game. That's another thing that invalidates my Terrakion. Like Sash Terrakion in the Sun matchup, so good. Until Vine Lash comes up and it's just like what item?
You just still not regret this.
You have Ooze to boost Torkoal. You have Sleep to put on pressure. You have Quake to live things. You have Vine Lash to do residual damage. Venusaur is incredibly oppressive just at team preview, which makes it really difficult to deal with.
I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing more Venusaur off of Sun. I know that was a thing like early Series 3. Like when we first got Lapras, like Venusaur and Incineroar in the format. It's like a decent option.
Yeah. One little thing, that it's not even in the percentage. This was another thing. If I was able to make it work, I would have 100% bought it. Was Colossal. We talk about the teams that are very popular, the Incineroar, like Rillaboom stuff.
Yeah, Colossal stuff. Made it through. It's not even on the usage. It's like people almost forgot about it.
How do you guys feel? I think that if there was a tournament to bring Colossal, it would have been this tournament. I don't know if Colossal is going to be good going into top 16, but I think that because you were expecting a lot of Sun, because Rillaboom Incineroar cores were big, I think that Santi, like, this was his tournament, and it showed he made it through winners. But what do you guys feel about Cole in general?
I do think it was a really good call because not a lot of people were respecting it. I thought I was kind of confident in my matchup, just with like Gyarados stuff in general. It fares decently well. It doesn't like taking the rock moves, but like Gyarados threw off solid.
Yeah. So I actually considered Cole for this tournament because I had used it in the May IC, and I really liked it. And
why didn't you use it then?
Gilly Suits had a really good version of the team that he had adapted from his Series 4 stuff. And the reason why I didn't was because I didn't feel like I had good enough ways to beat Urshifu Water, because I felt like some people would be bringing that, because you can't protect against it, you can't blow it up, and because
you take
in one of the original versions,
do you live
in one of the original versions of, I can't remember.
Okay.
But one of the original versions of Colossal that I had tried switched out Solar Beam for Scorching Sand. And I don't remember why I didn't want to go back to that, but it was. I remember just thinking it probably wasn't. No, he was Solar Beam.
Okay.
But it was,
I know he was also Meteor Beam, which I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
Meteor Beam is good. So yeah, Cole was definitely a great call. I guess I got too distracted by New Toy Syndrome and Urshifu, Cinderace, that stuff. But Cole is definitely a threat to look out for. And I highly suggest trying it if you haven't played it.
I guess like the two other things by staring at the chart, Caleb mentioned it, was that how hyper offense dropped. Whimsicott went from 16% down to 9%. But also Mon's like Magnezone. Talonflame rose up. Yeah, +2 actually.
Oh really?
So like hyper offense was still there.
Yeah. It was. It's just like a lot of teams did get weeded out that were leaning into it heavily.
Hyper offense teams really don't like open team sheets, I feel. Like the hyper offense I lost to Extra, who I also lost to in a Rose Tower tournament once, I think it was, or like some online grassroots tour. He because of that I drafted him on my NPA team, so I knew him. But he, for whatever reason, this kid didn't know that it was open team sheets. Like, I don't get people who don't understand like all the rules to a tournament you're entered in. But he even said, "Wow, I would have used like Grimmsnarl like control stuff if I knew it was open team sheets." Because a lot of the like texts or like options you have are easier to like maneuver around on open team sheets against hyper offense.
Yeah. That is true, especially Cinderace, knowing what move Cinderace is. But you mentioned Grimmsnarl control stuff, which did make top 4 in Europe. Roxanne.
Yeah, with the Corviknight team.
Yeah.
Corviknight Dracozolt. Honestly, not a bad archetype right now. Another, like, I wouldn't say underexplored, but kind of forgotten one.
Yeah, was Grimmsnarl even? No, Grimmsnarl isn't even in the usage similar to Cole, so
yeah.
Pretty cool to know. I'm trying to think.
I'm just now recognizing, like, my brain is just now realizing the Pokemon I'm seeing right now. In Latin America, a Drapion qualified.
Yeah.
What?
From winners too, by the way. That's impressive.
I just generally write off that bracket. Not to sleep on Latin America. We don't do that anymore, but like.
I think it's
Drapion has really cool options just between Quake, Poison, Rockfall, and it can get around its Intimidate with crits.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
It's a cool mon, and I found Cinderace struggled against it a lot.
Okay. There is actually another
and
Pokemon
Rillaboom struggled
we're not
against
talking
it.
about yet. That I was kind of worried about as far as hyper offense goes. Porygon Z. That's another new archetype in Series 5 that, like, it was gaining a lot of traction the week going into it. People were tweeting, like, you're either playing in this tournament or using Porygon Z and you're going to lose or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I made a tweet about this recently, so I just want to address this.
Yes.
Okay? Porygon Z is a good mon with Dynamax.
Yes.
But stop pairing it next to a Clefairy. If you put it next to a Clefairy, I guarantee, like, if you just lead that every single time, everyone has a matchup for Porygon Z Clefairy.
Yeah, what's the Clefairy
things that
doing?
we've seen, the things that I've seen that have actually worked, because Porygon Z puts on so much pressure at Team Preview. I believe, who won Streamers Cup? Was it Fevzi?
Yes.
Literally just yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And he had Trick Ring, right, on his Porygon Z. At the very least, it was putting on team pressure and having that extra trick to it, right? So you can no longer just sort of like for me, every single time I've played Porygon Z Clefairy, I have led the exact same thing. And every single time, I have blown up the Porygon Z on turn 2 by clicking Close Combat with Urshifu, right? Because naturally that speeds, and the Clefairy's gone due to Cinderace blowing it up or whatever.
Yeah.
To actually have other options that the Porygon Z can actually try and put pressure on just by having that Trick Room option or Fake Out or whatever it is, and not just relying on Clefairy, I think that's what makes Porygon Z scary. Stop leading Porygon Z Clefairy, or I will find you and
honestly,
beat you
Max
up.
Strike, in the similar vein of Airstream, could be good to have like a partner next to it also dish out good damage.
Well, I know it's not talked about much now, but Jeudy did use Giga Impact on his Cinderace. So like Max Airstream, there is an argument for them. But yeah, I'm still looking at these Latin American teams.
Yeah, they're a little wild. Wait, I'm just remembering a Pokemon. Oh no, it's on there in the usage. Darn. I was gonna note a very specific Pokemon. It rose up in usage from week 1 to week 2. I thought it would be even lower, but Rotom Wash. How the mighty have fallen. The monkey will not let the washing machine come to play.
Yeah, just like Terrakion, right? Wash was a victim of Rillaboom. Yeah, I think that
down
like,
there too.
We understated just how the impact of Rillaboom. A lot of like before Rillaboom existed. Let's think of mons. Like Primarina was like a lot of teams had like a big bulky water, and like the highest bulky water is at 13%, sitting with Primarina and Lapras, being the most used ones. So like water mons, the
Lapras can at least OHKO the Rillaboom.
That is nice. The stock in Watermons definitely changed when Rillaboom came. Rillaboom, I'm still surprised they like affected the meta as much as it did. But I mean, I'm not surprised in retro. Like looking at it now, like, it makes so much sense. But like stuff like how we thought Mungus was gonna be insane, Whimsicott, Terrakion gonna be insane, and they all just. Even Rain, we thought Rain, like a lot of water-oriented stuff. Or like
Politoed was supposed to come back and make a splash.
And Kingdra's so good. Whoa. I'm sorry, but yeah.
No, I didn't run into. I did play one Rain team, but yeah, outside of that, Rain.
Was that no? That wasn't Justin Burns.
No, Justin was playing Lapras team, which is it got 5th. Adi ended up piloting it. And got 5th. So.
Oh, freaking Comfy! I hate that Comfy's a thing. Like, what I lost to it. I learned about it. I'm so glad I actually played practice games on Battle Stadium the week leading up to it, because I had no idea what Comfy was trying to do. Like, I know what its ability does. I know its moves, like floral healing and everything, but I didn't know it got Trick Room. I know the good Comfies don't use Trick Room, but I lost to that because I was like, oh, I didn't know it learned Trick Room.
You just don't know.
I beat, oh my goodness. I don't think I have, no, because the server's down for that. But the team I played round 3 of Players' Cup, it was a Comfy Lapras team, but none of the Pokemon had Protect. It was Ally Switch, Ally Switch Comfy, Helping Hand Lapras. Like, it was forced to max guard. It actually came into play because it didn't have Protect, that it was forced to max guard at one point and install a max turn from itself. But it was also, like, Ally Switch Chandelure and had all these other weird stuff. Like, on paper, super scary in, like, open team sheets to see 2 Pokemon with Ally Switch. I talked about this last cast, but Ally Switch is surprisingly powerful in open team sheets because it just gets in your head. Like,
yeah.
You would think knowing about it, you'd be less worried, but like,
No.
Speaking of Ally Switch, Duck Pond cut with Ally Switch Dragonbolt. So.
Oh, like, I completely forgot about that. Oh my god. Oh.
So. And you know that I was talking with him. He said one of the only reason he had it was for PZ, but it got in people's heads. Like, that was his PZ matchup, and that.
Yeah, I can.
It got in people's heads, and they were like they misplayed against him.
So open team sheets, good for finding out if your opponent has Protect or not. Mm-hmm. Good for finding out if Comfy learns Trick Room. Not good for finding out just because your opponent has Ally Switch. Definitely was not an Ally Switch out there. No. Never referred to it as an Ally Switch, like, because I was like, Ally Switch just gets kind of better because now you're looking at the move and you're like, oh shit, he can do it.
What was the thing that came up the most? Oh, knowing that my Talonflame had Taunt, I would lead Taunt Talonflame against a Trick Room setter. They would still Trick Room because they know that I know that I'm threatening, so they're like, oh, they're not going to go for it.
Yeah.
You're Yomi level 5 here, right? Like, you're Yomi level 0, and, like, you know they have it, so who does what now?
Nope, they go for it because it's like, oh, well, they're going to think I'm not going to go for it. So,
and, like, sometimes it's just, like your best play. I played a game 3 set recently against Roxanne. And there was a turn where I knew he had Fake Out, and I didn't Protect because I was just like, if he doesn't Fake Out me, I get a free hit. Well, obviously he did Fake Out me, and that was I got hit over it. But it's just like, just because you know your opponent has it, it's like it becomes that extra mind game that makes VGC so cool.
It is. It's a cool element of it. I hate it at the same time at certain times, but.
Speaking of open team sheets, that was one of the reasons why I actually didn't like Sun as much. And I know Sun ended up being, like, awesome in the tournament, but, like, for me, I was like, I had a game plan. Venusaur with Sash or Life Orb, right? Mm-hmm. If it was Life Orb, I do this. If it was Sash, I do this. And that kept going through the back of my mind is like, that's what I can do.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't end up playing any Sun, but you know, it was, that's part of why I was so excited about open team sheets, right?
I get that. Yeah, same.
It just removes some of the variance and the unpredictability, you know?
Unfortunately, my team couldn't really have that liberty of, you know, flexing with her or not. I know the items, so where was I going with this? Yeah, so without knowing that, I think that's just so telling of how good Sun is, because it's even better without the knowledge. Talking about, like, I guess, what's it called? The ability to do open team sheets at live events. The only reason we had it at this event was to, like, hack check, essentially, to, like, guarantee we were fighting the stuff we should be fighting. But it did bring this enjoyable factor that changed the game. That we were talking earlier. We want to see more, maybe online tournaments like this in the future. But I do think, I know Japan Nationals in the past has done this. I think if like Top Cut is open team sheets in the future, like make that practice standard, I think that'd be a lot of fun, because there's no way, like, what was it? We had the 600-person regional in Dallas. The connection on the phones were like awful because of how many people there were. We were never logistically going to be able to do that for like an entire tournament, like we did for Players Cup. But I think, yeah, I like it though.
Yeah.
It's possible if you get Wi-Fi, because we have online team sheet submission now, right?
Yeah, but then you're assuming everyone has phones, and like it's a lot to like juggle and everything. So
yeah, I think the big argument is like, as we've gone on in VGC, we've made it less luck based. You know, we used to have best of one single eliminations.
yeah.
Then we went to best of one Swiss, and then we went to best of three Swiss. I feel like this is just like
you
unnatural.
forgot we used to be Swiss no cut too.
We do have that.
That was the time.
So like I feel like the format is making things more consistent, and I think open team sheets is the most consistent Pokemon like you'll have ever. I think it's like amazing. Logistically, I don't know how. Like I feel like if you're like filling out a team sheet, it's like you file out like a form. It's like one for the copy for the judge and one for yourself, which would be cool. But like, I really would want it. I think it's amazing.
I would miss like the middle ground plays though, like not knowing what moves your opponent might have yet, and like the whole, I guess, gambits of game one, like knowledge and everything.
Yeah.
Like it does change the game, not drastically, but quite a bit on how you would play it. That's why I feel like later rounds it makes more sense, especially because the VGC online rhetoric of friends being broken, like having friendship systems.
Friends are broken.
You know, you can share the team info against potential opponents. That evens the playing field tremendously for cut there. So that would be my vote for why we would want that in cut in the future.
I mean, is there anything really bad about changing the way that we play the game? Because if you're saying like, oh, this is how we've always played the game, is that necessarily like a good thing, right? Like,
right.
Is the natural evolution, as a change, a bad thing? I don't really think so. I think it's good. I prefer it. But then again, I'm also greedy about this because I typically play more balanced control stuff that doesn't have crazy weird tech options, right? I'm not running that, like,
no surprise factors to really cheese out like the first 3 rounds for you.
Yeah, I'm not running like Quiver Dance or Choreo or something. I'm not running like, I don't know. I'm not running crazy weird moves.
I've been known to run
maybe I'm a little
crazier
greedy
sets. Well, so there's also like certain teams. It's like, where's the weakness policy on like the Dragapult, T-Tar kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that's why
it especially helps
weakness policy Dragapult wasn't as big of a thing in open team sheet. Like it's better on stuff like T-Tar at that point. So
if there's like one thing I could add to that, or like as like a reason why we don't want it, is like a lot of team building decisions are usually reflected on like the meta or like stuff, and like when it's revealed it has like a great impact. Like even something simple, like the majority of Excadrills are weakness policy or focus sash or life orb. But up until recently there's been lum Excadrills to deal with like the burning jealousy, random will-o-wisps and stuff, and like the impact on that like decreases a lot when it is open team sheet. So like that's like some arguments people have. Not necessarily, I don't like the argument of like, oh no, people are gonna find out that I'm running Choice Specs Gyarados or like something out of the ordinary. Like that like those gimmicks I'm not too big of, but like smart item choices and smart move choices that get revealed and become weaker, is a bit sad to see, but
yeah,
like that's like the little bit of the argument against team sheets.
Yeah, that's kind of the game one middle ground plays information gathering phase that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
I would also partially argue that like even if you have smart item choices, like because if you remember back when no one was running like weakness policy Excadrill, and I think Edu was the first person who
he was one of the first person, but
he definitely, I think he brought it in. What was it? What was that super huge tournament that was online? Febsy won it. No. The one that Wolf ran.
Oh, Champions Cup.
Champions Cup, right? And he had this weakness policy Excadrill that was like, you couldn't, like, you had to play around that, right? Because even in the later rounds, people knew that he was running weakness policy Excadrill. Yeah. It didn't matter. And that smart item choice where people couldn't just like heat wave with Arcanine, like, it gave them a lot of trouble when they tried to cycle Intimidate, right?
Yeah.
Because he'd just sit there and Quake or Steel Spike or Swords Dance or whatever, right? So I do think smart item choices, yeah, we could lose some of that, but I think it's still very doable if you can make the right item choice for the meta.
Like, I'm already big. I want this implemented ASAP, Rocky. But so like I like my arguments are, I don't have strong arguments against it. Because I don't think there are too many strong arguments against it.
I think it affects team building, though. Like, there's another layer we have to think about regarding team building. So it's hard.
Yeah.
I think a lot of newer players will struggle with it, I feel.
Okay, that is valid. That's why I think that like open team sheets, generally the better player wins, and it tends to be the more experienced player.
Which isn't like necessarily the best argument, because you don't want like that goes to show like the skill gap in the game if the worst players are winning because of their off meta move choices only.
Yeah, I think I guess one thing, so to make it not sound like who the better player will win, I think it allows you to make the most informed and best decision at every point in the game.
Like, at certain points in some matchups, there are definitive correct plays to be made.
Yeah. There's no unknown. There's no, like, this plays won't work out if my opponent has this, because now you know, so you can play around that, or you can make a play with that in mind. And that is like its own dynamic, and I think, like, a lot of the smarter players that, like, are thinking about the board state and the game state get rewarded heavily on, and I think that's overall healthy for the game.
Are there any Pokemon we haven't really touched upon? I guess expanding Force Spam didn't become as bad of a thing as we thought it'd be, but it's still oppressive as hell.
Rillaboom is...
Yeah, again, Rillaboom up there.
Rillaboom,
another Pokemon it invalidated, Rhyperior.
I didn't even think about that.
I'm so glad. Rhyperior, like, Hard Trick Room was so annoying. But, like, it was never really the best, but, you know.
If anything, I think it just made Sun realize that that Tyranitar was better.
Yeah.
Like, even before that.
Porygon 2, and, like, the difference between Porygon 2 and, like, Dusclops didn't really go over.
We
There's
did
not
get
too much
a
to
few
say about that, I think.
I think if there's one, I guess, statistic is that there were 3 Porygon 2s that made it to the next day, while there was only 1 Dusclops that
yeah, that's true.
That made it.
And the Dusclops is stuck on the like mixed Sun kind of team.
Yeah. I guess like the other thing is Porygon 2 was used more than Dusclops. Going into both weeks.
It fits more teams just because of its type and its coverage.
Yeah.
Like, also the variability it has with its coverage.
So I think it, like, overall Trick Room got a bit better because of that too. They had more reliable setters that aren't just
one thing one thing that I was interested in was I think Porygon 2 actually has good max options between.
I did have to fight Max Porygon 2.
It has crazy bulk, and Dusclops doesn't do damage, but Porygon 2 with a special attack boost.
Yeah, download boost.
It's pretty solid. It gets the terrains up, right? Like it can set electric terrain for itself to prevent sleep, so you can't yawn it or anything.
But
right, you can...
in expense, you're not doing like actual like insane max move damage like we're used to.
No, but it's an option, right?
It's not terrible. My opponent only did it because they were going to lose anyways, and they hadn't maxed yet. So, but
yeah,
it's not.
Well,
it's not
it's
awful.
Just
in that vein, a Moongus can also max if you ever needed it to.
Well, I guess I'm just saying like. Porygon 2's max option is much better than Dusclops' max option. Yes. You shouldn't be maxing Dusclops.
I've only ever seen it once.
But Porygon 2 has that sort of offensive potential, right? So,
trying to think if there's any Pokemon, new or old, we haven't really touched upon. Magnezone and Goodra neither made it all the way through. They're like
they
meta stuff right now though.
They did finish 5th again. I think it was Adi's team.
Adi got 5th. Yeah.
Adi.
Yeah. I wish there was someone taking results of like all the top 8 teams from each region, because I think there's a lot of stuff. Obviously, my team got top 8.
Yeah.
But
Fifth,
definitely a bigger picture of the meta. Because I think there was just so many smart ideas into team building. I think I look at Rogov's team, that was like a really cool team.
Yeah.
Even Jeremy, Dino he just ran Sun, I believe, right? But like, just to like get more usage, get more of that percentage.
I'm sure someone somewhere is trying to gather as many of the top, as many of just the Players Cup teams in general. I'm sure somewhere eventually we'll get maybe like 70% at least from NA.
Yeah.
I'm sure those teams get posted.
Because there were, I don't remember, but I think there were 3 people running that Comfy Lapras team. Comfy Lapras Goodra Magnezone team in top 16,
Underhill.
Right?
Underhill got 33rd with us.
Was it top 16? It was Adi, Justin Burns, and someone else. Maybe I'm misremembering. It might have only been 2.
No, Underhill got 17th.
Okay.
And Justin got 25th.
I think Adi was the only one in week 3 that ran the team.
Oh, in week 3? Okay. Yeah. I might be mistaken then. But it's just, it's a bigger metagame picture.
Oh, yeah. I guess we're also...
Goodra Magnezone had more. Sorry, go ahead.
100% used for week 3. Because we're looking at the week 2, because that's the only that's been released.
Yeah, we don't have week 3 stats yet.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll get those soon. I think my biggest bummer is that I really like this format right now. Like, kind of where it is. It's enjoyable. We don't have tournaments going on. Like, all the tournaments going on, like the Victory Road stuff, it's like team tournaments or like invitationals. Like the Players Cup Finals is coming up, but like there's no just big like open bracket tournaments. Like I know Rose Tower has stuff coming up. They because their circuit. Well, that's even more invitationals they have. Their circuit's ending this month. So, like, right around where Worlds was supposed to happen, they're going to have their big events with their invitational and stuff. So, we have a lot of cool viewing opportunities, but not a lot of, like, playing opportunities, you know?
I guess if there's the next event I'm preparing for, when you announce your Swiss thing, I'm definitely playing in it.
Oh, yeah.
But,
I'm waiting for Colin to get partner on Twitch, and then I'll like enable that. But
LCQ for Rose Tower is the next big tournament. I think everyone should be preparing for.
That's in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Or next week.
It was going to be next week. But they moved it because next week is Players Cup Finals.
Yeah. Right.
So they don't want to like, even though it's so few people playing in that tournament, they'd rather have them also play in the LCQ if they could. You know.
Yeah.
But it's just a shame because, like, Victory Road had a lot of big tours, but they're busy with their, like, Europe stuff. They also had this...
Yeah, Europe. Europe stuff.
Well, it's just
it's
team
insane.
tournaments. Team tournaments, I'm saying.
They get such big turnouts, and it's like the tournament is only like
with
Spain
Victory
only.
Road, yeah, they did their Spain only tournament. The one that the Mono Water team won. I say Mono Water because it was Dark Urshifu, but 5 other water Pokemon. Weirdest team I've seen. Horndrill Sea King was on it. I think Wolf made a video with it. If you watch Wolf's content and want to see that. But yeah, they had over 900 people in that Spain only tournament.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Spain? Oh, wow.
So, like, again, like, us, like, we're saying not lots going on, you know, as English speakers and, like, players and whatnot. But there just used to be a lot more going on. Champions Cup came and departed. We never expected much out of that after the fact, if I'm going to be honest.
Actually, can we talk about that NA had a Korean player qualify?
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. I was trying to avoid saying his name, but the Korean player, yeah, he lives in Canada now, though, right?
Yeah, he lives in Canada now, so
yeah,
but that's like
former Korean player.
Yeah, former Korean player, which I think is awesome.
Yeah. I've heard good things about the guy. I'm friends with Wan Siak, rollout dude, and I know he worked with him, so I respect him in that aspect. But also, so in the stuff that we've been looking at for the teams, that I'll be linking in the description, no matter where you're watching or listening, it only shows 3 teams from NA. There's a 4th player, but it's Conan. There's complications. I think he'll probably still play in the tournament. I doubt there's much TPCi really cares about. Like, if he gets top 4, will they not give him his prize? I could see that happening, but I don't know. I don't want to talk about why Conan's a problem, but just at the very least, he lives in Japan. He shouldn't have been playing for that reason alone. If they let Conan play, but they didn't let Ray play because he accidentally registered his Japanese address, well,
the thing I wanted to bring up with Luca being Korean is that there was an entire section of Asia that was cut out of
that
Players'
was a big
Cup.
deal. Yeah,
and I just really want to highlight that if you've looked at some of the friendlies that have happened, because we're talking about Spain and just 900 Spanish players, Team China, Jolly Breloom, has like swept every single one of their friendlies. It's crazy.
I've seen a lot of like friendlies like that. I've never
and
I guess that's not a big thing in the US, but like.
But the crazy thing is that Team China's been sweeping, and they don't even have a circuit. They can't play, and we've seen some crazy stuff out of the Chinese players that have come to Canada. Like Bingji is one of my locals, right? Yeah, and he is destroyed.
Right.
Yihui too, yeah. So they're like both awesome players, and like it's really cool that at least like we got a Korean player in cut, and unfortunately, and none of the Chinese players could play, but the ones that are in like the US and Canada were able to play as well.
Yeah, so Oceania was only New Zealand and Australia now.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's because of some business issues with TPCi and stuff. Like it's not. It's above our.
We can only speculate. We can only speculate, but I think it is something like that.
But also just business decisions happening in quarantine in general. Oh, cool segue. The last thing I wanted to talk about. This is over a month old now, but it was posted like 3 days after my last CableCast episode, so we're talking about it now. There's like loose 2021 Championship Series information they have out there. They're still planning on having Worlds in London next year.
Yes.
So I was, oh my god, so many canceled trips this year. I finally have an income. I'm employed after college. I was gonna go to so many events, but quarantine ruined that for me. But it's okay. I'm looking at the brighter side. Once we get through this portion of life, when we get events back, I'm going ham. We're gonna have so much fun. Just be patient, stay safe out there, guys. But we now have a 3-day Worlds event.
Yes,
well, like
sir.
4 if you count finals. But
oh shit, yeah, it is.
yeah. So here let's do it. Age divisions, whatever. So World Championships will take over 4 days, beginning on a Thursday. The CP eligible players earned in 2020 will transfer in whole to the 2021 season. Players will continue to add to this with whatever events happen in 2021, which who knows with how the U.S. has been treating stuff. I see other countries are rebounding and stuff. I read today Australia had like a resurgence or whatever. Scary stuff. But so Thursday is the same bar for the 2020 Worlds.
Yeah.
And then Friday is the new bar. And then Saturday, our like usual day 2 is like the top.
Do we know the new bar?
No.
We don't know the new bar.
They're not gonna calculate that bar until we get back to events.
That's fair. That's fair.
Honestly, I could see. It'd be weird, but I can't imagine Thursday and Friday bars being that off. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to lower the Thursday bar, just because how I imagine they want it to be is they want people who just started playing in 2021 to still be able to qualify for Worlds.
Yes, that's me. That's me.
That's you?
Okay.
Do you not? Don't you have CP from 19?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you went to the one
Yeah.
Atlantic Regional city?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry I beat you. Had happened.
So when qualifying from when you start in 2021, it would sort of be like re-qualifying for that day 0, right? You'd have So you'd still be hitting that 400 bar. What is it? 400, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are players who only played in.
qualifying.
There are players who only played in Ultra Series in fall of 2019 that are qualified for day 0 Thursday of the 2021 Worlds.
Yeah. Which makes it difficult for new players because you want to cater to them, right? People who don't have CP.
But how?
And then people who have earned some CP.
When are we gonna get back? Like people are thinking like maybe March of next year again, but that's not enough events to give CP for new people.
You're right.
I need a miracle.
So
I'm in need of a major comeback.
I'm not worried. I will qualify for Worlds because what was it? I thought I was going to this year for day 1 because I am almost at 200 and I had I think 2 to 3 regionals and a Nats left for CP, but it's gonna be a mess. Best finish limits, they don't know. I'm surprised they even said something about this, but I guess people are asking because there's a lot of just money. A lot of people. I guess it's more important TCG because a lot of people's livelihoods, I guess, can be affected by this.
Yeah.
So
honestly, Jeudy, you don't need a miracle. You just show up to Worlds and you flash your Pikachu trophy, and you're like, "I got this, guys." They let you.
The plan is to win Worlds on day 0. Easy.
No, but imagine
day 0 is gonna.
If you have a Pikachu trophy, just qualifying for every single Worlds.
Yeah.
That it's good. It's gonna be very. I respect anyone playing from day 0 or day 1, making it to day 3. That's one Swiss round, like day of Swiss into another day of Swiss, into another day of Swiss, into top cut. So like that's insane already. My ideal is I am also, finally financially capable. So I want to. I was planning on traveling to events this year, and
it's gonna be a good time.
COVID bodied that, but hopefully I'll be able to get at least the original day 1 invite, whatever that CP bar is.
Yeah.
But you'll have to see. We'll have to see when events even start reopening. When we're gonna have our first event. So much happening. Yeah.
We'll figure it
Let's
out.
go for like. Who was I talking to with this about? I think if we assume you're playing like 9 days of Swiss on day 0, followed up by 9 days of Swiss on day 1, followed up by 7 rounds of Swiss on day 2.
I will be trying to skip Thursday.
You can hit like, I think you can hit like 35. No, it's not 35 rounds.
No,
There's
not
no way,
rounds,
but you can hit.
maybe games. Not sets, but games.
No. Nine rounds of Swiss into 7 rounds of into 9 rounds of Swiss on day 1 into another 7.
Oh, yeah.
Into like you can easily hit like 30 rounds of Pokemon.
Yeah, no, easily.
Yeah.
Because if X2s make it, you can just be the lower X2.
Dude, at this
in
point,
top cut.
just make Worlds an open bracket. Anyone can enter.
Yeah.
AKA just bring back LCQ.
Ooh.
That's what day 0 is.
Yeah, make
Thursday
Thursday.
Elimination, I'm flipping.
Make it LCQ, but Swiss LCQ.
Okay.
Like an actual tournament.
Yeah, day 0 is acting like an LCQ.
Yeah.
But how are they gonna decide who gets the cool backpacks if
you have to make it
if it's
through that
open
day?
tournament?
No. So the reason why it's LCQ is it's the next day. Yeah, you have to make it to Friday to get the cool bag.
Right.
All right.
But all right, yeah. I think we've exhausted everything. Is there anything else? Jeudy, I know. I'm plugging all your socials. You're trying to pop off.
Yes, sir.
I'll stream sometime eventually. I don't know. I hate streaming right now. I can't. I'll get over the hump, but it's just because there's no events or anything.
Yeah, no.
Like I'm not motivated to play yet. Although I just remembered, it's a new month, so I might stream me getting back into Master Ball. We'll see. But
yeah. No. Like I said at the beginning, I think when I said it at the beginning, my laptop's broken, but I get a new one, 2 to 4 days.
No.
From here, August.
By people who hear this episode, and eventually by the time they're like, oh, I need to look up Jeudy, you'll be back. You'll be back.
Hey, I will. Yes.
And then Abe, you're doing you, man, right? You're not entering grassroots stores and stuff, right?
That's CableVGC.
Is that your thing? Yeah. If you're watching this on YouTube, the Twitters are right below us. Give your boys a follow.
Over here.
Do you have any other last thoughts before we sign off?
Down there. Over there.
No. VGC 28 is probably the most fun I've had playing Pokemon in a long time. And I'm very excited to play more. I'm very excited to watch the Players Cup. So yeah, Pokemon is a game that I like now. I'm glad to be back. So thank you for having me.
No problem. It's fun, especially with friends. Friends are broken. Good friends.
Friends are broken.
All right. We'll talk next time. Next episode will be. Who knows who I'll have with, but we'll talk Players Cup. We'll talk everything. So I'll see you guys next episode. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.